Well, look at there. Happy Veterans Day to everybody. And we're doing this funniest thing, the 11th month, the 11th day at the 11th hour. We couldn't have picked it even better if it was planned, I tell you,
Yeah.
Bobby.
You planned it, so I guess that's why.
We always do it at 11, right? Tuesdays and
Yeah.
Thursdays at 11. So I guess I just planned it so one time a year it'd be perfect. Anyway, the reason we're doing this is when we had you on the radio last weekend for Veterans Day, and I thought it'd be perfect to have you back on Veterans Day because we normally do it Tuesdays, but Thursdays is so much better, especially being Veterans Day. Um,
Absolutely.
I want to get a little bit of information about you and your service, and then we'll get into what we're going to talk about today, which is helping vets getting into houses and home loan programs and all that good stuff, the benefit that they don't really know about. You good with
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. So I'll go start off with my service. I went in September of 2000, right after high school. Obviously, 9/11 happened the following year. So I went into the Navy thinking that we were going to go on deployments and have fun and stay in ports and see different
All
countries.
all the port of calls and all that fun stuff they talked about.
Yeah, yeah. That was my dad's Navy. He'd say, "Oh, we'd stay in St. Thomas for a week." So
Right.
anyway, yeah, 9/11 happened. We deployed 3 months earlier than we were scheduled to anyway, and from there on out, it was just either deployments or workups. Going from Fallon, Nevada, things like that. So I had a good time.
How'd you get the ship to fall into Nevada?
Right? I know. Go figure the Navy, right? We have a Navy base in the middle of the desert.
Well, no, that's Top Gun now, right? So they moved
Um,
it. That's
yeah,
where
it
they
was in San Diego. Yeah.
Well, Top Gun was in Miramar, and then that goes taken over by the Marines, and they
Mhm.
moved Top Gun out to there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's still there. I haven't kept up with anything in the last 15 years, but
You
um,
haven't?
no, no,
You were like,
but
I'm done. I'm going to go with my civilian life, right?
exactly. Actually, I was just going through storage the other day, and I found my sea bag full of stuff, everything, and yeah, I didn't even try to put it on.
That's funny. You didn't keep it for your kids' Halloween down the road?
Well, they got to grow into that. I was like 170 back then, so
You're like, well, you never know how big your boys are going to be, right?
yeah.
So
Into the oldest one, he's got to gain about another 100 pounds to fit in it, but
yeah, well, they're so
someday,
young.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You can always have somebody. Doesn't anybody sew in your family? You can always cut it down.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone. My mom does. I forgot. Sorry.
It's much easier to just buy a uniform, but
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know what they had when you were in, but I had the original wool dress blues. Did you have those too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know nowadays, I think the dress uniform is still the same, but like for their regular working uniform, instead of the dungarees,
Yeah.
they have like the digital
Right.
camis. Yeah.
I think didn't they just change it to blue or something? They just got away from digital camo or something. I mean,
Oh, did they?
yeah, they just recently. If anybody really knows, that's just let us know.
Yeah.
We don't stay up on that kind of clothing stuff, but it's just amazing that people go in, they serve, they get out. They pretty much up until 9/11, people really forgot about the service, forgot about loan programs, forgot about
Yeah.
all the benefits. I was in the Navy, corpsman. I got out a long time ago. But the part about it, when I went in just to see if I wanted to go in the medical field before I spent all that time. Got my bachelor's and master's. I finished up when I got out, the first year I got out. And so I used it for what it was for, that
Uh-huh.
benefit. Well, what a lot of people don't use is the VA home loan. And I remember over the past 20 years that I've been in lending, the VA home loan was not a great loan. It was a horrible loan because of the fact that it didn't keep up with the values in the areas. It didn't keep up with the conforming loan limits. So for years, so I remember in like 2002 to 2006, max VA loan was 180,000, 200,000, and the
Oh,
median
yeah.
was 280, right? And you couldn't use it. And then also back then, the program, I'm sorry, I just jumped right into it. It's one of those things
No,
that
that's okay.
automatic. Sorry. One of the things back then also was you had all these non-allowables, right? The vet couldn't pay for this. The vet couldn't pay for this. If you charge one origination, then you have all this other stuff, which thank goodness with the new change that happened about a year or so ago, 2 Januaries ago, it changed everything, where now the loan program is amazing. It goes up to 1.5 million with 0 down. There is no non-allowables. There's none of that stuff. If you have issues with pests, the VA only needs a short form pest report that says there's no active pest. That's it.
Yeah.
It's the local pest companies who say we need to do this, this, and this. No, you don't understand. VA only needs this, and that's helped us drastically to be able to get vets in to homes. The other issue that a lot of people think is veterans don't have any money. A lot of veterans have money. They save their money, right, when they're getting out. And so they have this cash built up, but they don't need it to buy a house with the VA home loan. So what I tell people is just, you can say, here's a VA home loan, purchase, contract. The vet has additional money in case the appraisal doesn't come in, and we'll go over this dollar amount. The reason they don't take the VA home loans is they don't think the vet has that money to be able to make up the difference if the appraised value doesn't come in. Right.
So they're thinking because they're choosing a 0 down loan program that they just don't have the funds in general, right? Is
correct.
That what you're saying? Yeah.
That is correct. Yeah. And that's not the case. Some vets don't. I'm not saying that. But, and then if you're a disabled vet, at least 10%. And that's why I tell every vet. And that's why I had the sheriff on last week, and we talked about it. I don't know if you saw that. We talked about a lot of veterans, when they're getting out of the service, they don't want to put in for a disability because they're afraid it's going to stop them from working for the police department, working for the sheriff department, working for those. It doesn't. A service-related disability has nothing to do with what they're doing. As long as you can pass the written, the physical, they'll let you in. Now, he said now if you have a PTSD rating, once you're through that and on the other side, then they still will. It just goes through their whole thing and won't affect you. So
no kidding. That's good to know.
Yeah. So it's because vets are, and this is one of I did a lot, quick video today, like Happy Veterans Day, and for vets to get help, because a lot of vets need help and they won't get it, or they won't do it because they're afraid it's going to affect them further. And those are the people who commit suicide. So you need to get the help and ask for the help wherever it is. And if you guys need help, reach out to me, reach out to Robert. We'll get you to the right place. Even though we're loan people and you're a real estate agent, we will help you. It doesn't matter. That's our job.
Yeah, we don't stop helping people once we're out, right?
No, it's very important for all of us to, and I don't mean this like, let's get together and take over the government. Stick together and help each other, right? It's really important. I'm seeing a lot more veterans run in for public office and other stuff, which is what we need, because we can work with each other. It doesn't matter where you came from, where you are. We get along, we work it out.
Yeah, it's been really encouraging seeing all these veterans run for Congress, because I've always thought that, if you're going to be serving in a body that can send the troops to war, it's a good idea to have some experience and understand what you're sending them into, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's different when you have somebody who's been to war or their kid has been to war. They won't be first to send everybody else's kids to war, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
you don't want too many degrees of separation from the reality of it.
Correct. And I do have a question for you. For a lot of people don't understand, I heard this on TV. They're like, what was Veterans Day called years ago? First called?
Armistice Day.
Yeah. And 11th month, 11th day, 11th hour. And that's where we are now in California, anyway.
Do you know when they switched it over to Veterans Day?
I could look. It was like, I want to say in the 70s. I could Google it real quick, but that's okay. It doesn't.
I guess the new generation didn't understand what Armistice Day was. So
I wouldn't have. Would you?
Yeah.
That was a treaty.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you would have been a kid or an adult in that time period, you understand it. But I think Veterans Day is pretty understandable, although it always gets mixed up with Memorial Day, right?
Right. Well, yeah. Well, these Veterans Day is just remembering all veterans who serve. Memorial Day is people who lost their lives.
Yeah.
Right.
A little more somber day than Veterans Day, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But I know we're talking about the benefit of a loan program, but we also have to talk about vets. And the biggest issue is we've lost more active duty personnel for suicide during this COVID than any other thing. And we need, my monitor just went away. It's back. Went to sleep, thought, you don't need me. You're just talking. You don't need to see yourself. Anyway,
I didn't know that statistic though.
yeah, it's huge. It's the
Okay.
worst. Yeah, it is horrible. I remember my son being stationed where he's at, and when he first got there, all rah, 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 went through airborne, all that kind of stuff. Oh, go sit in your barracks for months.
No,
We're not doing anything. We can't get together. We can't do anything because, they're too worried about COVID. So, all right. What do you know? So anything else you want to add? Because we've been going for 10 minutes. I think we talked quickly about the VA home loan, but let's break it down. All right, shall we?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So the first thing you need to know, you need to be a veteran. Absolutely. Or you need to be a widower of a veteran and you're still getting the service related disability stuff. Okay. And not remarried.
And honorably discharged.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And then that's active duty. That's reservist is different. You have to put in so many hours and so much time. It takes them a lot longer to become where they can get the actual benefit. I think it's over, it's a lot of hours. You have to keep checking unless you were activated and you went over.
Yeah. Is it 6 months of active duty?
I think so.
Yeah. Trying to remember. Everyone I've worked with so far has been, a veteran that did 4 or 5 years, got out under normal circumstances. So I haven't had to go into that. Yeah.
It's occasionally I come up with somebody who is a reservist who's never been in, who wants to use it. And then, I have to go through, we have to go through. So what we have to do is we have to order your certificate of eligibility through the VA, which is newer people getting out. It's pretty fast. We can have it within, 10 minutes or whatever. If you're older service period and never asked for it, it could take 24 to 48 hours to get it. And we need your DD-214. We need a lot of other stuff. Vets know what a DD-214 is. It's that one thing they told you never to lose when you got out, right?
I ran across mine 2 days ago looking for the kids' the security cards. I was like, thank goodness I have this.
Yeah, go put it in a fireproof safe or go put it in a safety deposit box so you don't lose it. You can get them. You can order them online now. I don't know if you know that. So if you have lost yours, you can order it through the VA. You just log onto the VA system, set it up. You also can order your own letter through there. You can order a lot of different things through the VA system. So what a lot of people don't know, so it's no money down, right? That's zero down, but that doesn't mean you don't need to put an earnest money deposit down on a contract, right? But that money will go towards, so when you're a vet and you're not putting any money down, you still have what we call closing costs, right? Escrow and title fees, and that's on your side, where that's what you help them negotiate with the seller, who's going to pay 50% escrow, all the title, whatever that numbers are. Those are additional fees. So even if no money down, you still need, I always say, between $3,500 to $7,000 for closing costs and setting up your impound account. Your impound account is the account that pays your taxes and insurance for you. And so you pay that on a monthly basis into this account. And then it pays in California your taxes twice a year and your insurance once a year. The reason I say California, because we are a little different out here where we don't pay every 6 months the taxes. We pay it in December and then again in April. Yeah. So it's like, why couldn't you do it every 6 months?
California.
Yeah.
You got to make things difficult. But yeah, the impound account especially for like new, like first time buyers is a huge relief for them because, everyone's heard a story about how someone, gets towards Christmas time and they don't have the money for their property taxes. And then they're
delinquent
sweating around the holidays. So,
well, the one thing about for most places, you have to impound the taxes and insurance. You have to have an impound account on the VA loan. You don't, that's where most places are. We have where you don't have to. I recommend it. Because there's nothing worse than trying to come up with, $1,000 for insurance or trying to come up with $3,000 for your taxes in December, right?
Most of us are just not disciplined enough to actually save that money. So the fact is just added on to the payment and they take care of it. I'm grateful for it.
And a lot of people go, I was doing a video where someone asked, can my payment change? Right. So once you get your VA loan, it's a fixed rate. I don't do adjustables. There's no sense to do adjustables. So it's say a 30-year loan. It's a fixed rate. Your payment won't change. Your principal and interest part of the payment won't change, but your taxes and insurance part of the payment for impound can adjust yearly up or down.
Yeah.
And sometimes what happens is, say you bought the house in February, right? And then you go through the process and we have the impound account. We have it set up to what your taxes are supposed to be, right? So the taxes change on what you buy the house for. In California, on average, is about 1.25, whatever. So that's what's that, 1,025 for every 100,000, right?
Yeah.
Or 1,250 for every 100,000. So we have to. So that's what your new tax rate is. But what happens is the first year you pay the taxes off of what the seller was paying until they adjust it at the county recorder's office. Yeah. And what happens sometimes, they can go through and reevaluate your impound account and say in January, they usually do it, or February, and say, oh, you have extra money. So we're going to, and they send you a check for $1,200 or $1,500. You need to save that money because you will have what's called supplemental taxes. And so the supplemental taxes mean, okay, you paid at this rate in the beginning, and now it's to where it's supposed to be, that we have set it up all the way through. And that's what we tell people. If you get a check, hold on to it, because when these supplementals come, if you didn't get a check, we'll have you send it in to the person servicing your loan at the time, and they will go ahead and pay it, and then you're fine. But if they have sent you a check prior to getting these, you're going to be responsible for those. So a lot of people get these checks and just spend the money. Right.
Yeah, homeownership's great, right? Until they adjust the taxes. Yeah, that happened on both my houses, but it was more significant with the house I'm currently in, because the person that I bought it from had purchased it for like $165. We purchased it for $235. Right. So 2.5 months later, now I have an $800 bill, that I have to pay. And at the time I wasn't in this side of the industry, so I called my realtor, and she's like, "Remember, I told you about your supplemental tax bill." So now, as we get closer to closing with each one of my buyers, I remind them about that.
Right. But your lender, she should have said, call your lender. And if you would have called your lender, they would have told you if they had that extra money in there for them to pay it for you. So I always tell people, when you get to supplemental taxes, call me first, and then I'll go through the process, and we'll figure out which way it needs to go. Because you as an agent's not responsible for helping people with their supplemental taxes and that kind of stuff. That's not really the real estate side. That's the lending side to help them, because we impound it. Right. I try to take all the stuff that's lending away from my agents, no offense, so you don't have to deal with it. So you can focus only on the real estate stuff. Right. And when people call me, hey, what about this? Blah, 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 I'm like, call Bobby. He's your agent. I don't want to explain something and be wrong. Talk to your agent about that. Right.
Yeah. And people, when they see something new, the first thing they do is call the person that helped them the most. Right. And I understand that we can always refer. Oh, well, you know what I mean. In person, right?
It just depends on, everyone's different, right? And one of the things I was getting to, a lot of times, every client you become, they're almost like they're a friend, right? Because you're spending, they're telling us everything. I know more about them than their doctor, their attorney, their priest, you name it. I know everything about them. But nobody out there knows that I know that, because I don't tell anybody I've done a loan for anybody. That's their job, to refer me to other people and tell how good of a job I've done. It's not our job to say, hey, by the way, I did this loan for so-and-so. It's not the same with, agents on the side. When they sell the house, they say, I sold this house for this amount. They tell everybody, because they have no financial data of the clients. So that's the difference.
I never thought about it from that perspective.
Oh, you didn't?
No. That's why I'm always learning from you.
Well, that's why I don't put, hey, this house was just financed by so-and-so. That was like the worst thing you can do for me, right? It's a secret. It's not a secret. It's just personal information that doesn't need to be out there. So for us, it's not, my staff doesn't tell anybody. Nobody tells anybody. It's not like it's a super secret. It's just not our information to tell.
Now, for the VA loan, are gift funds, are the rules the same as far as gift funds go with any other loan?
Well, you can get gift for the down payment, for the closing costs and anything else. Yes, you can get gift. It's not a problem. But the one thing that you always have to remember, the PES report is needed every time you do a VA loan, cash out and a purchase. One thing about a VA loan, once you receive it, when rates drop, you can do this thing called an IRRRL. It's an interest rate reduction refinance, which means there's no income needed. The application is just their names, and pretty much that's it. That's it.
Okay.
And there's nothing to it. There's no income, no nothing, because they already got it. I wish every other loan was that way, but that's just the way the VA is. I mean, they do have an FHA kind of close to it, but it's not the same. So you can do a refinance and lower your rate without having to show your job history, all that kind of stuff. They don't check to see if you're working, any of that kind of stuff. So
As long as you've been making the payments, they figure you're still good to make the payment. Huh?
correct. That's on lowering the rate or term. Well, if you're just lowering the rate, that's where it is. If you're lowering the term, they might have to look at whether or not you can afford the payment, but it's as long as it's an IRRRL. I should really say that's really hard to lower the rate on the VA home loan, the new one, because the term period of it, the rate's easy, but the term, I did one where I was taking them from a 30 to 15. It just made no sense dollar wise, how they have to figure it out. It was some law that came in effect afterwards that's messing it up, and they need to fix it, and they're still working on it. So I had a bunch of people, they wanted to do it. So I did it with not making any money just to let them have that loan program.
Yeah.
Because it's all about our clients. I mean, don't get me wrong. Still need to make money occasionally, but don't, you know what I mean? It's about helping. So the VA home loan is totally amazing. Okay, where did I end up? All right, so DD 214 you're going to need your income. You're right. You're going to need so when you call somebody like myself, we're going to go through and run your credit, look at your income, and then you have to prove to us that you have that income. Once we do all that, then you're pre-qualified. And then once I see your documents, then you're pre-approved. Most VA home loans, the ratios are so much higher that we can push numbers to, not that we want to, because I still go through and I want to know what your payment you want to be, not what I can qualify you for. And what's the max I can go, what kind of payment do you want, right? Because even though I've had some people who could qualify for a $4,300 a month payment, but they only want an $1,800 a month payment, right? Because that's what they're comfortable with. And those are things you need to go over. And we both will go over with the clients and say, okay, this is what we're looking at. All right, now go look at those homes with Bobby and see what that looks like. See if that's where you want to be. If not, we know you can go here and here. Go look at the different price points, that's available to you.
Yeah. And, the VA home loan, sometimes people are apprehensive to use it. This is just what I've heard personally. They say, oh, well, I've heard that, sellers are less likely to accept VA home loans, if you write an offer. I haven't found that to be the case.
You have or haven't?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
I have, so a lot of times up in Tuolumne County, because they're worried about pests, because there's always freaking a deck that's dry rot, you name it, it's there. So it's always going to come up, where conventional doesn't really need a pest report. FHA really doesn't. Only VA has to have the pest report, right? Mm-hmm. They also have to have a well and septic if you have that, right? So they have to have the well looked at for contaminants, that kind of stuff, which I'm like, so what? Don't you want to make sure you have good drinking water at the house in the first place before you buy it? All the stuff that they're doing is to protect the veteran, period. That's why I was saying that here locally, I haven't seen a lot of it, but basically you can still do the short form, which just says there's no active pests. I think the real big reason people don't use the VA home loan, or sellers want to take it, is because the agent hasn't explained to them that it's a different program. There is no non-allowables. There's none of this other stuff that it used to be. They need to forget all that. Just forget all that information, throw it away, and realize it's a totally different loan. Most vets have some money to pay difference. If they have the money and make up the difference in case the appraisal doesn't come in, ask before you say no. Right. Yeah. These people signed on the line, or they, or got their commission to help protect our country, and they deserve the VA. They get the VA home loan. And they don't have to put any money down because they signed on the line or they got the commission, and that's what they did. So help them get into a home.
And it might not even be a bad thing just to kind of put a brief description on how it's changed, maybe on the bottom of the pre-approval, or maybe I could, when I submit one with the VA loan, I can always add that as a second page.
Right. Well, and I will talk to the listing. You let me know who the agent is. I'll let them know too. But that's so what you said. So basically they can get the new documentation of the Blue Water, whatever it's called, program, and get that information and send it with it and say, this is the new program. It's not the same as what you're used to. And you can say it. I can tell the listing agent, and I can even tell the sellers if they want to know. But the one thing about VA home loans is it's more of a guarantee than a conventional loan. Right? Because it's so much easier to get approved with the VA home loan.
Well, obviously, whoever's using the VA home loan has to put less money down. So, they're probably going to have the funds for the closing costs. It's not going to be a problem. Everything's going to be ready to go.
Right. And if not, they get a gift. And if not, they can get a gift for the difference in the value. They can get a gift. They can get, there is no, the only time I don't think they can get a gift is from the selling agent, right? They can't get it from the people in the transaction, but they can get it from anybody else.
Gotcha.
So, and that's, and again, what I always tell people is I don't know everything about even this program that I've used forever. I knew, things change, right, in our industry. Like if you don't like it today, wait till tomorrow because it'll be worse, right? Basically. But rate wise, VA home loan rates are the lowest out there. God, I sound like that stupid commercial. But one thing about VA home loans, you have to be careful. You have to look at the cost. All right. There should be no points on there. There should be, there's some companies charge underwriting fees. Some companies charge processing fees. I'm not going to spout my company and say, oh, we don't charge. I'm just saying you have to look at, if you're going to look at two different companies, you have to make sure that first box, whether it's whatever they, on the loan estimate, how much cost is in that box. Because I've had many times where clients have come to me and not only with the VA, but they're like, hey, remember you did this for us? Can you look at my numbers? And you have to be careful where you're going because sometimes people are a lot more costly than other places. Just shop and look at the difference. And I tell everybody, you can have your credit pulled in the first 15 days by multiple mortgage companies, and it's not going to cost you anything. It's not going to affect your credit score.
So those are all soft checks?
They're one-time pull hard, the first one, and then after that, it's not going to affect you. It's like one pull.
So just in that 15-day period?
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, they say 30 days. They say 30 days, but there's only one that's 30 days. It's the other, and there's two bureaus that's 15. So gotcha. It's funny how they, when you read the fine print.
So now going back to the Veterans Day thing. So your son is in. How long has he been in the Army?
2 years.
2 years. How's he liking it?
He loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're an adrenaline junkie, you're going to love jumping out of airplanes.
Yeah.
So not me.
So he's airborne?
Yeah. I don't want to jump.
Yeah.
I don't want to get out. I want to land in a good plane. Now, if it's going down, that's a totally different thing. I'll jump. Yeah. But if it's not, if it's perfectly good, why jump out of it?
Yeah. I've had some friends who've gone skydiving. In fact, I have a buddy who packs his own chute and everything. He's done hundreds of jumps. And before I had kids, I really wanted to go. Now that I have little ones at home, I'm like, yeah, I'll wait till I'm like in my elderly years. My grandpa went when he turned 75. And he
tandem, I assume.
Yes. Yeah, that was his first jump.
Yeah, no thanks. I'm good. Yeah. It's not like, it's just something I want to do. There's so many other things I want to do than that, but
Like I say, you can do other dangerous things like ride motorcycles, right? Drive your car too fast.
You can just drive your car to work. These days, right? It can be dangerous. Yeah. All right, we're coming. Anything else you want to go put on here before we go? Because we want to keep these right at 30 minutes.
Yeah. So we're obviously really excited to help any kind of veterans out there. There's a lot of other things that Ed's involved with too that help vets. He does a show called Helping the Brave, which deals with veterans either active duty or transitioning out of the service.
And through life.
And through life. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that for people that haven't served and haven't spent time in the service and then gotten out, they don't understand what a life-altering event that is. And
just talking to people, it's a huge difference.
Yeah, it's like going through divorce and losing everything. You lose your income, your housing, your insurance, and you kind of start life back over again.
Yeah,
and normally that's for young people in their 20s, right?
Right. Well, they lose their purpose. Even when they retire, we talked to so many veterans on Helping the Brave where they're like, I got out and I got lost. I had no purpose. Right. And that was the one thing we try to explain to them when you're transitioning, start 2 years out. And there's a lot of good programs out there for vets when they're transitioning, thinking about it, how to put it together and go forward. And then one thing I want to let people know, while you're in service, you can use your VA home loan. You don't have to wait till you get out. It's just because it's a VA home. It's when you're in active duty, you can use it also to buy a home, and you should.
Same with your education benefits.
Right.
Yeah.
So
which I used mine for my bachelor's, and I paid about $7,000 Yeah, where everyone else was paying about 60. So all the VA benefits are great. Just take advantage of them.
Yes, very much so. I mean, for me, when I was in, mine was horrible. So luckily,
Yeah. Post
luckily
9/11 was
after
good.
9/11 changed everything. Then they got even better after that. So the program's out there, and that's why I'm finally glad they came up with the VA home loan program that is worthy of a veteran. How's
Absolutely.
that? That sound pretty good?
That sounds good, man.
All right. And Robert, thanks for being on here today, and thanks for being on the radio last weekend. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Remember, people, we're here Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. And I'm here any other time you need us. Just, message us through Facebook or Instagram. And again, thanks for being here. And if you like what we do, just follow us. Thanks, Robert, for being here. Bobby.
Thank you so much, Ed.